We are group 6 and there are 5 members in our group. My name is Joe and we have Jamie, Hanjuk, Trần and Anh Khoa. Uh, I, our group is going to bring you a presentation about 2 stages. The first one is later Middle Ages and the second one is the Tudor Age. Let's follow us to get more information about this topic.
England in the late Middle Ages from 1154 to 1216 divides into 3 stages and ruled by 3 kings. Its rulers were the second Henry, ruled from 1154 to 1189, the first Richard, ruled from 1189 to 1199, and the last one is John, ruled from 1199 to 1216. The Angevins from 1154 to 1216, commencing with the second Henry. Henry was born in France 1133. When crowned King of England, Henry became a ruler of the largest realm in Europe, also the richest and the most powerful. The next king is the first Richard. The majority of earlier historians show that Richard the Lionheart as a hero wearing a crusader's red cross on a white shirt with a sword in his hand, obviously a popular king. The third king is John. John was the younger brother of King Richard and a youngest son of the second Henry. John is best remembered for losing all the English lands in France to the King of France, the second Philip, and for the Magna Carta. Many historians put Magna Carta or the Great Charter as one of the turning points in English history, which put England on a road to a democratic state and introduced the lawyers in England to the concept the human right as we know it now. Both put England ahead of the rest of Europe and probably the world in social justice and fair government. Magna Carta has 63 clauses. Here are a few key ones. Human rights issues. A person should be put in prison, have his property confiscated, or be outlawed, but by the judgment of his equals in a court of law. No person should be deprived of his means of livelihood. About business and trade, the same weight and measures should be used across the country. Foreign traders should be permitted to enter the country freely to conduct their business except in times of war.
Hello everyone, my name is Joe. Now is about Plantagenets. It was from 1216 to 1399. The name Plantagenets is used to distinguish with the ancient rings that you have just known in the previous part, because in the ancient rings, the kings counted of Anjous in France. However, in this period of time, they lost control of Anjou. In Plantagenets, we have 5 kings, begin with Henry III. Do you remember in 1215, the King John signed the Magna Carta and after 1 year he died, so his son Henry Winchester became a king with the name Henry III. And Plantagenets ended with Richard II. He became a king when he was just 10 years old. Next is a pretty significant event, that is Hundred Years' War. Hundred Years' War was a series of conflicts which from 1337 to 1453. by the House of Plantagenet, rulers of the Kingdom of England, against the French House of Valois. You can guess the reason and the origin of this conflict, right? Because of demographic, economic, and political crisis of that time, 14th century, between the kings of France and England, that burned this world. Hundred Years' War was a time of rapid military evolution. They used weapons, tactics, and they know how to organize army structure. The French victory marked the end of a long period of instability that had started with the Norman conquest. When the war ended, England was benefited its continental possessions, and France lost half its pollution during Hundred Years' War. The population of England was also reduced by 20 to 30 due to plague in the same period. So the plague that killed nearly half population not only in England but also in all Europe was called Black Death. Black Death, it happened in 1347. It was the worst disease in recorded history. So some people at that time think that God punishment, but actually it was caused by bacteria carried by rat fleas. And you know that black rats that travel on merchant ship spreading throughout Europe. In total, the plague may have reduced the world population from an estimated 475 million to 350 million. If we walked in the street at that time, we could see a lot of dead people because of this epidemic. It was really, really terrible. The statue of Pleading, which made English at the official language of the courts in Parliament in 1362, and in the same year, Edward III became the first king to address Parliament in English. So that's all about Plantagenets, and now is the houses of Lancaster and York.
The War of Roses, from 1455 to 1485. The Wars of the Roses was a series of bloody civil wars for the throne of England between two competing royal families, the House of York and the House of Lancaster. As you can see in the picture, the red flower is represent for the House of Lancaster, and the white flower is the York. King Henry VII won the Battle of the Bosworth, which ended the Wars of the Roses and established the Tudor dynasty.
Tudor Age. The Tudor Age was the most exciting in British history. A Welsh-English family that ruled England and Wales from 1485 to 1603. This period lasted through 5 different monarchs. The first one is Henry VII. The second one is Henry VIII. The third one is Edward VI. The fourth one is Mary I, and the last one is Elizabeth I. The Tudors started with the first monarch, King Henry VII. King Henry VII was the king from 1457 to 1509. Henry VII. He was the founder of the House of Tudor, became the King of England by defeating King Richard III at the Battle of Bosworth Field, the culmination of the Wars of the Roses. Henry engaged in a number of administrative, economic, and diplomatic initiatives. He paid very close attention to detail and instead of spending lavishly, concentrated on raising new revenues. His new taxes were unpopular, and when Henry VIII succeeded him, he executed Henry VII's two most hated tax collectors. And the second king of this period was Henry VIII. He was the king there from the year of 1509 to 1547. Henry VIII, a flamboyant, energetic, and headstrong, remains one of the most visible kings of England, primarily because of his six marriages, all of which were designed to produce a male heir, and his heavy retribution in executing many top officials and aristocrats. And the third one is Edward VI from 1547 to 1553. Although Henry was only in his mid-50s, his health deteriorated rapidly in 1546. The short reign of Edward VI marked the triumph of Protestantism in England. And the fourth one is Mary I. Mary was the daughter of Henry VIII by Catherine of Aragon. She closely identified with her Catholic Spanish heritage. She was next in line for the throne. However, in 1553, as Edward VI lay dying, he and the Duke of Northumberland plotted to make his first cousin once removed, Lady Jane Grey, as the new queen. And the last queen was Elizabeth I, from 1558 to 1603. Historians often depict Elizabeth's reign as the golden age in English history in terms of political, social, and cultural development, and in comparison with continental Europe. Elizabeth's reign marks the decisive turning point in English religious history. As a predominantly Catholic nation, at the beginning of her reign was predominantly Protestant by the end. Here, the Tudors ruled for 118 years, and Tudor England saw two of the strongest monarchs ever to sit on the English throne, King Henry VIII and his daughter Queen Elizabeth I. I have told you all about the kings during the period of Tudor.
Besides Tudor government, the local government is also important. In Tudor period, the main officials of the local government operated at the county level. So, there are two officials, the sheriff and the Lord Lieutenant. The sheriff is a government official with varied duties, existing in some countries with historical ties to England, where the office originated. Historically, a sheriff was a legal official with responsibility for a shire. The sheriff held court every month to deal with civil and criminal cases.
He brings the justice of peace. The second is the Lord Lieutenant. This was a new office created by King Henry VIII. A Lord Lieutenant is the British monarch's personal representative in each county of the United Kingdom. Each lieutenant was responsible for organizing the county's militia, and this flag is of Lord Lieutenant. After all, both Sheriff and Lord Lieutenant have important roles in local government in the Tudor age.
Welcome to quiz. Quiz number 1. The later Middle Ages lasts from 2. Yes, the answer is A. Quiz number 2. The Tudor age lasts from 2. Yes, the answer is also A. 1485, 16, 3. Question number 3. When English became an official language? And the answer is D. 1362. Questions number 4. Which house initially won? And the answer is B. The House of York. Questions number 5. 100 Years was a series of conflicts by? The answer is B. Questions number 6. The Tudor ruled how many years? 118 years. Questions number 7. Which one represents for the House of York? The white one. Number 8. Who is the founder of the House of Tudor? It's Henry the 7th. Number 9. Which house finally won? Yes, the House of Lancaster. Number 10. The most exciting period in British history is? And the answer is the Tudors. This is the end of our presentation. Thank you for watching.